After discovering my girlfriend's ambiguity with her senior, I had a car accident on the way to find her, and suffered a blow to the head and temporary amnesia. Childhood sweetheart girlfriend rushed to the hospital, but pointed to the next roommate and said that she was the one who was my girlfriend and wanted to use this to get rid of me. Knowing nothing about it, I took the hand of the high-flying beauty and looked at her with glowing eyes. "So you're my girlfriend." Later, my memory recovered, with high cold beauty together, to completely with childhood sweetheart delimitation. She had a meltdown. By the red light of the sedan knocked over, my whole person even with the electric car flew out. I only felt a buzzing in my brain, raised my hand and could only touch a handful of blood. Vaguely, I heard passers-by shouting around, followed by fainting. The moment before I passed out, my mind was still thinking about the video I received not long ago. The video was shot in a dimly lit karaoke lounge. A group of college students were partying in a private room, and among them was my current girlfriend, Lena Liu, who has always been gentle and patient with me, and has also been my childhood sweetheart for 10 years, was drunk in the video. She was leaning on a handsome guy. The boy took her by the waist, a face of doting, in the dim light, and Lena Liu leaned very close to Lena Liu, but Lena Liu did not have any refusal action. I heard someone next to me asked, "Lena Liu, do you want to call your boyfriend and ask him to pick you up?" Lena Liu waved her hand while holding her drink and drunkenly said, Don't ever. I'm going to be annoyed if he comes. It's so hard to hide it from him and get out. I can finally get some peace and quiet." I've never seen such an annoying person in my life. The video was emailed to me anonymously. I clicked on it and watched the video many times. I couldn't believe that in Lena Liu's eyes, I was such a person. Lena Liu, childhood sweetheart, bamboo horse and I, high school formally together, is recognized by all as a couple. Because both families are in the right place. 1 year from graduation, my parents have already begun to discuss buying us a house in Riverside City, and after graduation, we will have a wedding. In the video, after Lena Liu uttered those words, the senior next to her arched his fire as if unintentionally. "No way. Senior, you've been with your boyfriend for so many years. Shouldn't your relationship be good?" Immediately afterward, I saw Lena Liu raise her eyes and laugh mockingly. Am I qualified to say a bad word about him? Not to mention his parents. As long as I dare to mention breaking up, even my parents won't let me off the hook. This relationship is envied by everyone, but for me it's like burden. I sometimes envy you guys who can fall in love casually in college, but I have to be tied down by him. When I saw this, I turned off my phone in silence before my eyes. I thought I was in a deep relationship, but it turns out that in the other person's eyes, I'm just a burden that I can't get rid of. At the end of the video, a cold female voice came out, with a slight hint of annoyance in her voice. "Stop it." But I have no time to pay attention to this, determined to take this video to find Lena Liu, face to face to ask for clarification. I, Ryan Yu, am not the kind of person who is a stalker, and if Lena Liu says that I am burden, then I will let her go free. As a result, just as I rode my bike to the intersection, I met the sedan that ran the red light. In dizziness, I slowly opened my eyes, accompanied by a severe headache. I heard the doctor aside talking to someone. Blessed with a great life, being hit by a car and flying so far away, he was only slightly injured, but also thanks to him wearing a helmet. A somewhat slightly cold voice came from the side. Only that voice carried a few shivers. Then how is he still bleeding? There's still a bit of a wound on his head. It's inevitable. It's not serious. The hospital treated the wound. It still depends on the patient when he wakes up. Then came another woman's voice, full of impatience. When will he wake up? I've got an emergency here. I don't have time to wait here too long. It was at this time that I opened my eyes. When the woman saw my eyes open, she hurriedly shouted out, "Doctor, he's awake." I looked fixedly at the woman in front of me. Due to the severe pain, my brain didn't react for a while. "Who are you?" I watched as the expression of the woman in front of me changed from excitement to surprise, followed by a strange expression appearing on her face. "I'm Lena Lu," she said with a sarcastic smile as she reined in the flicker of concern on her face and took a half step back, pushing the other woman beside her in front of my hospital bed. I twisted my head to look at the woman with a somewhat cold demeanor, who looked up at me with those slightly cool peach blossom eyes, worry in her gaze. "This is Vera Yen, your girlfriend. I'm her roommate and your neighbor. Heard about your accident and accompanied her to see you." The air in the hospital room froze for a moment. I saw that Vera Yan's person craned her neck and looked at the person next to her. There seemed to be some fire in her eyes. Lena Lu poked her arm and gave her a wink. Vera Yan's hand that was hanging to the side squeezed tightly, and then loosened up again. She didn't pay any attention to her, and instead squatted down in front of my hospital bed, and asked in a soft voice, "How do you feel? How are you? Does your head still hurt?" I nodded, and the movement tugged at the wound, instantly grimacing in pain. "Don't move." She sounded a little anxious. "Careful with the wound." I blinked and opened my mouth, my voice a little hoarse. "You're my girlfriend." I saw a flash of hesitation in Vera Yan's eyes and opened my mouth to answer. However, before she could open her mouth, Lena Lu, who was on the side, hastily snatched her words. "That's right. She's your girlfriend, Vera Yen. You stay here with your boyfriend. There seems to be an urgent matter on the senior's side that requires me to go over. I'll leave first." After saying that, she hurriedly left, closing the ward door as if there was a flood of beasts in the room. With Lena Lu gone, Vera Yen turned her head to look at me, hesitated for a moment, and nodded her head. "Yes, I'm your girlfriend." I didn't dare to make too big of an expression for fear of pulling the wound on my head, only showing a light smile, then reaching out my hand, lightly covering Vera Yan's hand. "Girlfriend, I want to drink water." Vera Yan's looks were on the cold side, and when she didn't make expressions, her face was too cold and even a bit uninviting. Soon after her cold looks, her personality was also a bit cold and not talkative. But she was unexpectedly very good at taking care of people, helping me up, feeding me water, peeling apples for me, and also carefully cutting them into small pieces to make it easier for me to enter. So meticulous that the nurses checking in couldn't help but tease. "This girlfriend of yours looks reticent, but she's actually quite good at taking care of people." After hearing the compliments, Vera Yen still had no expression on her face, but would just watch me carefully as I ate the fruit box she had just cut. Regarding my memory loss, the doctor only said that a bruise block had formed in my brain due to the impact. But overall it wasn't serious, and it would only take a month at the longest to recover. All I know is that Vera Yen and I were students at the same university, majoring in the same field. But I always felt that there was something fishy about her being my girlfriend. For example, when I watched a movie with her on the ward TV, I would pull her hand out of habit or try to snuggle with her intimately. But the first time I took her into my arms, I felt Vera Yan's entire body become all incredibly stiff for a moment, as if she was very uncomfortable. When I raised my eyes, I noticed that the tips of her ears were red, as if they had been scalded by hot water. "Vera Yen, how long have we been together?" Vera Yen froze for a split second before answering in a faint voice. 3 years. I was a bit puzzled. "Since we've been together for 3 years, but she's shy every time I hold her hand." A week after I woke up, the person who claimed to be my neighbor and Vera Yen roommate appeared in my hospital room again. By then, I had been informed by the doctor that I could be discharged, and Vera Yen was left to her own devices, packing my bags in the hospital room for me. All these bags were also brought to me by her on the first day of my hospitalization. When Lina Lu came in, I was crooked on the bed, watching her packing. Vera Yen, have we moved in together? Are you still living in the dormitory? Do you think we should move out and rent a house near the school to live together? Didn't you say 2 days ago that you find it inconvenient to live in the dormitory? A hint of redness flashed across Vera Yan's always calm face, and she twisted her head away for a moment, organizing her things as she said, "Let's talk about it after a while." When I saw her like this, I gave birth to the idea of teasing her. Remembering Vera Yan's usual reticent stance with me, I held her a change of face, and gently came closer, kissing her cheek. "Just decide in these 2 days. Okay. What are you guys doing?" Just then, Lina Lu violently pushed open the door and came in with a black face. I saw a face full of hostility on her face and glanced at Vera Yen uncertainly, but I saw that she also looked bad, coldly looking at the woman who came in. "Vera Yen." Lina Lu gritted her teeth. I felt the bad atmosphere in the ward and took the initiative to block in front of Vera Yen. "Looking for my girlfriend for something." The moment the words came out of my mouth, I saw a momentary distortion on Lina Lu's face. Vera Yen held my hand and whispered, "I'll go out and talk to her. You wait here for a while." Then, she half forcibly pushed Lina Lu out of the room and closed the ward door. Through a door, I could only faintly hear voices coming from outside the door, broken and incomplete. "Vera Yen, you are crazy. You forgot Ryan Yuhi. Isn't it you who said it yourself? It's you who are willing. Okay. You're good. Ryan Yu'll let you have it. I just don't know. When he recovers, what will he think of you?" I was frowning as I pondered the meaning of this conversation when I suddenly heard a loud slapping sound from outside the door. The two actually fought. When I rushed out of the ward door, the two had already been pulled apart by the people next to me. I was the first to run to Vera Yan's side, and was relieved to confirm that she was not seriously hurt. Then, with anger, I looked at Lina Lu, who was half lying on the ground on the side. Compared to Vera Yen, she was carrying an exaggerated bruise on her forehead, and the corner of her mouth was broken and bleeding. She looked quite a mess. "Lina Lu, I don't know how my girlfriend messed with you, but today you're the one who picked a fight at the door first. Next time, don't blame me for being rude. You said before that we are still neighbors, so both of our parents should know each other, and you don't want the two families to have an awkward relationship, right?" After speaking, Lina Lu raised her eyes to me. Her eyes filled with incredulity. "Ryan, you don't want to crash your brain along with it, right? Open your eyes wide. It was Vera Yen who hit me, but you defended her instead." I furrowed my brows, somehow tasting a hint of aggression from Lina Lu's words, and immediately felt a chill of nausea. Forcing back the nausea, I looked at Lina Lu with a grimace. "So what? Vera Yen is my girlfriend anyway." Lina Lu choked. For some reason, I saw a look on her face that was felt cornered, with a bitter expression. Because of her anger, Lina Lu's face was suffocated red, and only after half a minute did she hatefully drop a sentence. "Good, Ryan, you wait. In the future have you regret." I had already somewhat sensed something subtly wrong at this point, but my physiological instinctive reaction told me that for this person in front of me, my emotions were only disgusted. Lina Lu huffed and puffed and got up to leave, looking like she didn't want to pursue the blame. I was relieved, so I squatted down and looked at Vera Yen. I cupped her face with both my hands and examined it carefully, confirming that Vera Yen was indeed fine. Then I breathed a sigh of relief. I was very relieved, and I was very happy to see that she was fine, but I didn't want to see her again. "You two, what are you doing fighting with her properly?" Vera Yen grabbed my wrist, gripping it tightly for a split second and then quickly releasing it. "She said something she shouldn't have. Then you can't hit her in public." I didn't hold back. Vera Yen looked up at me, and for some reason, a darkness flashed in her eyes. "I want in the future. I hastened to add. Not let you endure her. Let's next time privately find a place where no one teach a lesson to beat her girl. Don't be caught on the handle. Panicked when explaining. I heard Vera Yan's a light laugh. I stared wide-eyed. A time to look dumbfounded. Vera Yan eyes dimmed for a moment. Hands around my neck. Come up. Gently kissed in the corner of my lips. Okay. I'll listen to you from now on. The next few hours, I spent the whole person in a trance, following Vera Yan, watching her check out of the hospital. I will never laugh at Vera Yan for being shy again. But it turns out I'm no better than her. When I got back to the dormitory, my roommates were very concerned about me, and I told them that I was fine, but only had a temporary memory loss. They were surprised, but they adapted quickly. As my leave was due, I had to go to major courses the next morning, and when I entered the classroom, I saw a familiar figure by the window and greeted her cheerfully. Vera Yan, I said to my roommate, and went to the side of Vera Yan. Not long after, Lena Lu also came in, and for some reason, she always had her eyes on Vera Yan and me. In class, due to my memory loss, I always approached Vera Yan and asked her about the class content. Every time I got close to her, Lena Liu's face became more and more gloomy. I didn't bother to look at her. I don't know why, but when I woke up and saw her for the first time, I felt a little uncomfortable. After class, Lena Lu took the initiative to find the door, blocking me in the hallway. Beside her was a boy who looked like he was very close to her. Upon seeing me, the boy took the initiative to greet me with a smile. Ryan Yu, long time no see, I frowned, for some reason. Subconsciously not having a good view of this person. But I still replied politely. Hello. The boy looked at me and smiled. Lena Lu said you had a car accident. Are you physically all right? Seeing that this person was just concerned about me, I put away my inner discomfort and replied with a smile. It's fine. Just a bit of memory damage. The doctor said I'll recover soon. Lena Lu laughed softly and moved closer to the boy, making a gesture of intimacy and familiarity, but her eyes looked at me without moving. What's Senior doing talking to him so much? By the way, Ryan Yu. Your parents told me they want us to come home together for the weekend. She stepped in front of me, raising her eyelids in a haughty gesture. But I'm sorry. I can't go back with you since I have to go to the exhibition with my senior over the weekend. The boy that Lena Lu called Senior smiled slightly. His mouth said sorry, but his eyes were full of smug light. I'm sorry, Senior. Taking up Ching Ching's time to accompany you. You want mind, right? I frowned and subconsciously took half a step back to keep a distance from the duo. Why would I mind, Lena Lu? You don't even need to accompany me back in the future. I have my hands and feet. I can go back by myself, and I won't take up any of your time in the future. Besides, of course I look for Vera Yan first when I have something to do, Ryan Yu. Lena Lu gritted her teeth, a hint of annoyance flashing under her eyes. You're hanging out with Vera Yan now. Do you really think she likes you? I've been roommate with her for 3 years. I haven't seen her like anyone. She hasn't been in love for 3 years in college. More or less there must be something wrong with her. Maybe she's playing you as a dog licker. Hearing these words, I felt a burst of stomach nausea, disgusted to look at Lena Lu. You are sick, right? Lena Lu, however, let out a sarcastic laugh. What? Was I right? I see you still. Suddenly, a figure blocked in front of me, separating Lena Liu's gaze. Vera Yan's face was cold, and her voice implied a warning. Get out of here. Lena Lu let out a snort. Vera Yan, is it possible that you really like Ryan Yu? Unfortunately, you know best in your heart who he really likes. Her eyes flicked between us and she smiled coldly. Ryan Yu. I'll wait for you to come and beg me afterward. So I advise you to come to me earlier to save yourself from regretting it later. Lena Lu left without looking back. The more I thought about it, the angrier I got, and I cursed at her back. If you have a problem, hurry up and go cure it. Don't go around wreaking havoc on people. Psycho. My heart bursts with anger, and I turn my head to spit with Vera Yen. Is this person really sick? But the moment I met Vera Yan's line of sight, I keenly noticed that she subconsciously avoided my gaze. What's wrong, Vera Yen? I asked softly. Sensing something was wrong, Vera Yen pursed her lips, and in the next instant, she flung herself into my arms. I hugged back, stroking her spine as if soothingly. What's wrong? Will you leave? After regaining my memory, there's a shiver in Vera Yan's voice. Why would I leave when I'm fine? I smiled. Don't you worry. Vera Yan's body then turned from tight to relaxed. After that day, I noticed the strange state of Vera Yen and felt that she was insecure. I brought up the issue of moving out with her again, and Vera Yen still disagreed at first. But she couldn't resist my firm attitude and gave in. I started to cheerfully drag Vera Yen to look for suitable properties. Vera Yen, the house I just saw has good light, but the floor is a bit high. The one we looked at yesterday is on the first floor. It's more convenient, but the rent is a bit too expensive. I was a bit embarrassed. After all, Vera Yen and I are both students. There are a lot to consider. Actually, Vera Yen pursed her lips and looked at me. I have an apartment near the school. My eyes widened. What? The year I got into college. My parents bought me a suite near the school. I stood in the wind for a few moments, and only after a long time, I said sadly, "I'll fight you rich people." Vera Yen laughed softly. It's okay. What's mine is yours. Someone has been cleaning that house. We can move there today. She paused and added, if you don't mind. I shook my head. Why would I mind? Then I'll accompany you to your dorm to pack, Vera Yen said softly. Good. I was leading Vera Yen towards the dormitory when suddenly the cell phone in my bag rang, so I had to pull out my cell phone first. Hello. What's wrong, Mom? A woman's urgent and worried voice came from the phone. You child. How come you didn't tell the family about something as big as a car accident? I heard that the doctor said you have memory problems. Scared me and your dad to death. I thumped in my heart. How did my parents know about this for good reason? Soon. I had an answer in my mind. Besides that Lena Lu, who else could be so idle? Mom and Dad. Don't worry about it. I gritted my teeth fiercely and slowed down my voice line again. I'm really already fine. The doctor has said that the memory is temporary. You guys. No need to say more. Your dad and I are already downstairs in your dormitory. No matter where you are right now, where. I'll hurry back. Let us see you first. Hearing my mom's reply, my entire body flinched for a split second, holding my cell phone and looking up in the direction of the dormitory floor. I saw my mom and dad carrying a bunch of things, and next to them stood a smiling Lena Lu, who took the lead and shouted out before I could react. Uncle and Auntie, Ryan Yu is here. I exchanged a glance with Vera Yen, who was beside me with a stony face, and sighed, bringing her along to walk in front of my mom and dad. The moment we met, my mom noticed Vera Yen standing next to her. There's no way. Tall and with a striking appearance, it's hard not to notice such a person standing next to their son. Son, quickly let Mom take a look. My mom grabbed my arm and checked me up and down, finding that there was nothing serious. Then she sighed in relief. After confirming that I was safe, she couldn't help but complain. I asked you to go back with Lena Lu, and you didn't react at all. And you had to have Ching Ching look at you 3 times before I could ask you to come out. It's almost finals, right? After the exams, hurry back with Ching Ching. We still have your Uncle Chin and the girls to take you to see the dream home. For a moment, I was stumped in place. Dream home. Yeah. Haven't you been clamoring to marry Ching Ching since you were a kid? You guys have been talking for 3 years now. And your relationship has been stable. Isn't it almost graduation? Your dad and I are discussing to buy you guys a dream home first, so as not to let the house price grow out of bounds in a few years. Wait. My whole body was in a huge shock. What do you mean you've been clamoring to marry Lena Lu since I was a kid? I was about to open my mouth to retort when a hand took my arm. I twisted my head and met Lena Liu's eyes that smiled deeply. I know, uncle and aunt. You don't worry. We will go back when the time comes, Ryan. You don't have to worry. After all, her eyes flashed. I am his girlfriend. Taking care of him is what I should do. I stood in place. My pupils trembled. For a moment, Mom and Dad's words, the roommates' reactions, Lena Liu's inexplicable attitude all along, and Vera Yan's strange reaction earlier. Everything strung together, and the answer was clear. My brain throbbed, and disappearing memories slowly surfaced in my mind. I remembered. Lena Lu, the woman I felt disgusted by from the bottom of my heart, was indeed my girlfriend of 3 years. Lena Lu, the woman I loathe from the bottom of my heart, is indeed my girlfriend of 3 years. This childhood sweetheart that I have known for 10 years is also my favorite person in the past. Vera Yan, on the other hand, was just a classmate I could call my acquaintance. If she hadn't been a roommate with Lena Lu, she might never have come into my sight. I stood still. My hands and feet were cold, and I didn't need to look in the mirror to know that my face must be pale as hell right now. But when I looked at Vera Yan, I realized that she was the one who was truly bloodless, and that pair of eyes that were as light as glaze was currently permeated with a mood that was worse than despair. Ryan Yu, what's wrong with you? Are you not feeling well? Lena Lu sidestepped, deliberately blocking Vera Yan's line of sight. Are you hungry? You haven't eaten yet. Uncle and Auntie, are you also still hungry? Should we find a restaurant in the neighborhood first? My mom looked at Lena Lu with satisfaction. That Ching Ching is right. Ryan, you whatever you have to do is put aside first. Let's go eat first. Lena Lu curved her lips and glanced at Vera Yan on the side without a hint of laughter in her eyes. Thank you for sending him over. Vera Yan. Ryan, you won't trouble you to take care of him. You see, we are having a family dinner now. We are also too embarrassed to keep you as an outsider, right? So I will leave first. I will treat you to boba tea some other day. I froze where I stood, watching Vera Yan faintly glancing at Lena Lu, then turned to leave. Lena Lu, on the other hand, was wearing a smug smile, taking advantage of the fact that I was in the way of my parents' presence, and purposely courting in front of me. Uncle and Auntie, can we go to this restaurant? Ryan, yes, favorite dish is this one. My mom dragged me along, and even though I was 10,000 times unwilling to sit with Lena Lu for another meal, I had to go. The meal was a very unpalatable one. After the meal, my parents instructed me a few words, and then took the high-speed train home. They have their own work, cannot stay for a long time. Asked Lena Lu to take care of me. Lena Lu last second promised well, sent my parents to leave, then towards me to show a smile, not a smile look. I've told you, you'll have to come back to me sooner or later. I let out a sarcastic laugh. Really? If it wasn't for my parents, do you think I would be having dinner with you? Lena Lu looked at the loathing in my gaze and gritted her teeth. Ryan Yu, what's wrong with you? Are you really stupid? I told you. I'm your girlfriend. Vera Yan is an imposter. Sarcasm appeared in my eyes. Really? That day in the hospital, the one who pointed out that Vera Yan is my girlfriend, wasn't it you yourself? Lena Lu scratched her hair in annoyance and let out an impatient tsk. I had something to do that day. I didn't have time to accompany you, so I just said it casually. Who knew you remembered it so clearly? And you've been hanging out with that Vera Yen for so long. She looked jealous. You stay away from her in the future. If it wasn't for this time, I wouldn't have been able to tell that she has such deep thoughts for you. I couldn't help but let out a sarcastic laugh as I watched Lena Lu say a bunch of things to herself. Off the cuff. I don't think so. Right. I looked at Lena Lu coldly, took out my cell phone, and played the video that I had downloaded back from my email during the party's dinner. As the progress bar moves, Lena Lu's figure stiffens inch by inch until the video finishes playing and she lifts her head, hooking a hard smile. Baby, who sent you this video? Don't believe it. I'm drunkenly rambling. I take back my phone and look at her calmly. Lena Lu, you know what? It was when I received this video that day that I rushed to find you to ask for clarification, and I ended up getting into a car accident on the road. We've known each other for 10 years. I've liked you since I was a kid and often stuck to you. Then after you confessed to me, I naturally thought that I could go to the same university as you and be together all the time. I smiled to myself. I was the one who was wrong. The one who was too stupid to trust you with our so-called relationship. I would have never thought that you would take my liking as burden. No, Lena Lu's square of impatience and annoyance was swept away, and she hurriedly spoke out to explain. Ryan, you recovered your memory, right? You remembered our old days. I really like you. Have you forgotten? When I was 17, the day I confessed, I swore that I would love you for the rest of my life. A hint of sadness came through my eyes. Of course I remembered how much the 17-year-old Lena Lu liked me. The joy in her eyes almost overflowed when she promised her confession, and she happily jumped into my arms. It's just that the youthful fondness was real, and the words in the karaoke lounge were as true as her feelings are today. I shook my head slowly. It doesn't matter. Lena Lu, do you think I would trust you now? That day on the way to you, I had already decided that I would set you free. Lena Lu, your burden is gone. Forever. Let's just get along. I turned around, no longer wanting to talk to her. At this point I had another person on my mind. Lena Lu was completely flustered, and hastily reached out to grab my arm. Don't go. Ryan, you can't do this to me just because of a few words. Her eyes were filled with pleading. We'll be looking at dream homes soon. We'll be engaged soon. Your parents will only recognize me as a son-in-law. My parents have treated you as their own daughter since a long time ago. We can't be cut off from each other. I was wrong. You're not my burden. I'm the one who mixed up my head. I pulled my hand back and looked at her lightly, not a ripple in my eyes. They'll explain myself on my parents' side. Lena Lu, let's just forget about it. I turned around again and this time, walked away determinedly. Never to have any of Lena Lu's calls enter my ears again. The number you have dialed is not answered. Please dial again later. Sorry. I don't know how many times. Vera Yan's phone is still not answered. I sat on the bed, staring blankly at the dark screen of the cell phone. The memories of spending nearly half a month with Vera Yan haunted me, and my heart was very complicated. If I say that I really fell in love with Vera Yan because of the misunderstanding in these few days, it would be too ridiculous. But the memory of this time is too deep. The uncontrollable embrace in that hospital hallway, the scorching heat when kissing up with the woman, and all the time, when Vera Yan looked at me, calm but hard to hide the love in her eyes. None of this allowed me to pretend that nothing had happened. I couldn't help but start trying to remember if I had ever crossed paths with her before. Unfortunately, my memory wasn't really that good, and as the day went by, I couldn't even remember what I had eaten yesterday. It's not realistic for me to remember anything about Vera Yan. But on the day of parting, the way Vera Yan looked at me was so sad, so desperate, that a layer of shade was cast over my heart as well. Vera Yan, where the hell are you? I mumbled as I rolled over. Why didn't you answer the phone? As I was tossing and turning in bed, roommate knocked on the railing next to my bed. Ryan Yu. He looked up at me with a difficult expression. Do you want to take a look? This roommate held up his phone. And on the screen was the school's campus forum's latest hot post. Oh my god. Is this Sister Lu from the computer school? Is she drunk? In the photo, Vera Yen was sitting alone by the school's campus pond, with many empty bottles of wine scattered beside her. In the slightly blurred photo, her long hair was cascading as she sat by the lake, staring blankly at the moon above her head. My god, I have to say Vera Yen is so beautiful even when she's drunk. What a beauty drunk. No. Why are you guys still watching the fun? Are you crazy? Is there anyone nearby to go up and pull her to the side? Don't get too drunk and fall down. Academic advisor let out a sharp pop, proving that academic advisor is impure. It's okay. The PO just went up and asked. The academic advisor is still sober and will be safe. I scrolled through the post and a new comment came into view. Humph. Looks like I'm the only one who knows the reason why Vera Yen is in such a low mood. Upstairs. Expand on that and squat a melon. Of course it's a certain male student in the same class of Computer Academy with our surname beginning. He has a foot in two boats. Having a childhood sweetheart girlfriend is not enough. But he also wants to provoke our campus queen. TSK. TSK. Tisk. Yeah. That's still what a senior from the same college told us. Seeing that the comments were starting to move towards conspiracy theories, I gave my phone back to my roommate. Ryan Yu. Don't take it too personally. We're definitely all on your side. Several roommates looked at me and comforted me. You definitely didn't break up with Lena Lu without a reason. I pursed my lips and a warm feeling welled up in my heart. Thank you guys. I'm going out to look for Vera Yen now. Please help me cope with the dorm check. I jumped out of bed and rushed towards the place in the photo. By the time I reached the side of the campus pond, Vera Yen was still sitting by the lake, but not drinking anymore. Vera Yen. I called out and Vera Yen looked over at the sound. Ryan Yu. She looked at me, her eyes full of drunkenness, her gaze a little lax. Is that you? Why are you drinking so much? I sat down next to her and put a few unemptied bottles aside. Don't drink. Vera Yen nodded, then shook her head. Her eyes stayed on me instead, looking a little dull and her voice slower than usual. It'll be hard not to drink. I didn't hold back and asked. Why would it be hard? Vera Yen drops her eyes and takes my hand, placing it over her heart. It will hurt here. You don't want me later. As if there was a row of small thorns stuck in my heart. I felt a little bad inside. Who said I don't want you anymore? Being drunk. Vera Yen talked a lot more than usual. Because you like Lena Lu, I've liked you since freshman year. But you've always liked Lena Lu and never looked at me. This time, I stole this opportunity. You recovered your memory and will hate me. Saying that, Vera Yen's voice got lower and lower. At the same time, I recalled some clues from my dusty memories. When I was a freshman in college, that girl with a cold look and a nice voice approached me in the first class and asked if I wanted to team up together. I replied that I wanted to be with my girlfriend. Later on, there were class reunions, dinners with Lena Lu's friends, and major courses, and Vera Yen was everywhere. And thanks to Lena Lu, I never noticed her gaze following me all the time. If it wasn't for that video, which broke my apparently calm relationship with Lena Lu, and because of a misunderstanding, Vera Yen became my short-lived girlfriend. Perhaps she would have buried this relationship in her heart forever. My eyes were a little sour. Vera Yen. I broke up with Lena Lu. I know what she said in the KTV. I'm not sure I'll be willing to start a new relationship anytime soon. But I've recovered my memories and I don't hate you. Will you give me some time? It was only after I finished speaking that I noticed that Vera Yen was staring at me motionlessly, with moonlight and hope in her eyes. 1 year later, Vera Yen. Here, here. Hurry up. I stood on the stairs and waved my hand towards Vera Yen, who was not far away. Come on. It's almost here. 3 months after graduation, I got a job in Riverside City and officially decided to live with Vera Yen. Shortly after that incident, Vera Yen and I had been in that delicate place in our relationship. It was one of those situations where everyone thought we had talked, but only the people involved knew that we were still in an awkward détente. Although it seems that Vera Yen and I are no different than if we had talked, the posts on the campus forum that were going the wrong way were deleted by me. And I talked about my breakup with Lena Liu within my circle of friends. Lena Liu came to me a few times, but I ignored her, and later I heard that she had a falling out with the senior of the department. But everything has nothing to do with me anymore. Due to the hesitation some time ago, I first moved into a rented room near the company, but as a result, it wasn't long before I couldn't resist Vera Yen's request to live with her, so I had to make another move. Vera Yen didn't say anything on the surface, but the smile in her eyes betrayed her true mood. Today's been a bit eventful. We have to pick up my parents from the airport at 5 o'clock later. I carried 2 bags of luggage and planned my trip next to Vera Yen for a while. Let's go back and organize briefly before we head to the airport. Right. I have to pack. I can't afford to get stage fright when I meet your parents for the first time as your future son-in-law. The corners of Vera Yen's mouth curved. She stood on her tiptoes and kissed me on the lips. Don't worry. They'll all love you for sure. End of full article.